I started in 1934. I was only 17 years old.
I liked to work for Motorola. I really did, because it was like a family, and I come from a big family.
It's been my privilege to serve our people now for 50 years, and what I can see in this is the fulfillment of each of their contributions.
It was the dream of Bob Galvin to chronicle the history of Motorola. Founded by Paul and Joe Galvin in 1928, the company started with just 5 employees. Now, more than 60 years later, with 100,000 employees and major facilities worldwide, it's time to make the vision a reality, and to extend that vision to join the past, present, and future into a new definition of museum, one that will instill passion for the scientific arts from Motorola's history and experience. Tuesday, September 3rd, 1991, marked the dedication of the Motorola Museum of Electronics, a dedication devoted to the joy of learning and the renewal of our commitment to excellence. A diverse audience of Motorola alumni, employees, their families, local officials, and international delegations attended the event. The day's program began in the museum auditorium with remarks by Bob Galvin, George Fisher, and Bill Wiggenhorn.
Good afternoon. But it's great to have you here and to recognize that many of you are not only associates within Motorola, but also represent some of our major customers and major suppliers. And we're very happy to have you join us in this celebration. As part of this organization, Motorola University, which I'm very privileged to lead, is responsible for the training, the education, the archives of the corporation, this museum, and a partnership center for customers and suppliers that will open next year. So in a certain sense, we have the responsibility and the pleasure to share with our associates the past, to train them for the present, and to provide dreams of the future. And so with that mission in mind, this building will thus be dedicated.
The opening remarks were followed by a ribbon-cutting ceremony, acknowledging many of those responsible for Motorola's foundation, and others representing the new leadership. A champagne reception allowed old friends to share their mutual histories and pride in a company determined to build upon their accomplishments. But it was the tours of the museum and the state-of-the-art interactive video displays that stole the opening ceremonies. The museum displays compel participation. It is unquestionably a hands-on experience, designed to challenge the minds of all who enter. The response to the museum experience was overwhelming.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. The thing that thrills me is what I see is going to happen in the future.
I look forward to showing it to my children because I think they're going to be impressed, and it's not easy to impress your children.
私は日本の OTC という会社の社長でございます。こんないい勉強の機会はございませんでした。
I am very surprised by the depth of Motorola's business institutions, and I could really see from this tour that the Motorola business has led very nicely into the electronics industries, and I can really see the tremendous growth potentials. I'm also very educated by this museum, and I'm very grateful for such an opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, first of all, it's a beautiful museum, and I think it's a very good way for me, who is not a specialist, to learn a lot of the history of Motorola.
One of the things that we understand from our customers and our suppliers is that they want to know who we are, because in the decade of the 90s, the issue of partnership is going to be extremely important. And there's nowhere better place in the world or how to do it in terms of let them know who Motorola is and what it's about and what the culture is and what our history is and where we think we're going in the future than to have them stop by the Customer Partnership Center and the museum.
This museum is filled with lessons, and virtually every lesson can be told in 1 or 2 minutes. And we can learn from these lessons by mimicking our successes and, of course, maybe avoiding some of our failures.
And so, through these lessons and examples which distinguish Motorola through its Museum of Electronics, we are better prepared to address our future.
The museum is more than a story of a company or of technology or of an industry. It is truly the history of a culture. A great company takes creative minds to work, the most dedicated and energetic people in the world, and it unleashes their potential for greatness. Within the walls of this museum, we see a company which truly has the potential for greatness.
A museum is so often typecast as a voice of the past, very rightfully and worthily so. It is our hope that our museum will be faithful to that casting, but we want it to be very much more than that. May this museum be one of those echoes and ever resounding chambers that keep telling us what are the right values, what are the right objectives, what are the right senses of perseverance, and watch how this voice describes to us 50 years from now what greatness was accomplished. And then they'll just go on from there. Well, it's a delight to see that we have arrived at this pivot point. We will merely spin it now on to the future.